right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to fight. We are discussing MFN 10. It just happened last night, and it was a great card. So, but again, there were so many things that were bad, and there were so many other things that were ugly. So, in this episode, we will be reviewing all the fights from top to bottom, but also we'll be talking about the good, the bad, and ugly of MFN 10. So, stay tuned with me and Piyush at Rebel Radio. All right, so Piyush, we just witnessed MFN 10 card last night. I went home at 2 p.m., so it was a long night, but a worthwhile night, if I may say so. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you thought of MFN 10 as an event, and after that, we'll get down to breaking the fights.
Yes, I definitely did not stay up past 12 o'clock because last time I remember the card finished a little bit earlier, but this time it was a long night and I tapped out at around 12:30
Yeah, I was there.
and I went back to sleep because it was a long day. Friday is one of our busiest day at Rebel MMA. These guys slugged it out. They carried on the fight marathon. And overall, it was a pretty good card. We saw some really exhilarating fights. And as you said, there were some bad moments or like controversial moments which this card was ridden with. And we are going to discuss that.
Yeah, so let's go. Let's start with the card itself. Okay, the first fight, the title fight, the strawweight title fight between Pooja Tomar and Killer B. What a disappointment.
Yeah, it was disappointing because we picked B to win, the B killer. Sorry, my throat is bad again. So the Killer B disappointed the fans a lot because she did not, first of all, look in a great shape. And apart from that, there was no urgency on her part to carry on the fight and finish the fight in a emphatic manner. Like she was just happy, content to stay out of pockets. She let Pooja advance forward, walk her down, and it was a very shabby performance, to be honest, on her part. But all the congrats to Pooja Tomar. She really brought the fire, even when Killer B attempted some of the takedowns. She managed to get back up, or she once used a leg lock as well, the outside Ashi heel hook, to get on top, which B had no answer for. So overall, it was an okay fight, not a very high level of technical display out there. What did you think about the fight?
I thought, like you said, I mean, I've always rooted for Killer B because I've seen a fight before. In this fight, you were right from the way she came to the press conference. She was not in to the event. She was kind of quiet, and she was kind of having more fun doing push-ups with Ulomi, I'm guessing. When she came, we thought it was going to be a kick-ass fight. If nothing else, it was obviously for the title bout. So, and I don't know why MFN started the entire card with the title bout. I think it could have been hyped a little more. But having said that, Pooja started well. She started opening her hands. Killer B was not herself. She did manage to take a couple of takedowns. The second one was kind of weird, the outside trip.
All her takedowns was pretty weird. She was using that headlock grip to attempt a takedown, which is not the perfect way to execute a takedown on her part. But again, I expected her to bring a little bit more to a table because she has the experience at one championships. She has seen and fought the elite fighters in the women's division. So Pooja Tomar definitely performed above her pay scale, above her grade, and she deserves all the props for that victory.
And also, Pooja stepped up a weight category. Pooja generally fights atom. This time, she went up to straw. So kudos to Pooja. What a well-deserved champion of the first strawweight champion of MFN.
Yeah.
So congratulations to her. She just brought the game in, and she started pounding her. And once she was rocked, there was no coming back. So coming back to the finish of the fight,
there were so many weird. This started the string of weird finishes throughout the night, right? So this, then the fight next after, and the fight after that, all had mid-round stoppages.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a weird night in terms of decisions and the outcomes of the fight. But let us go a little bit back let us step a day back into the press conference and let's talk about veins, because three fighters did miss the weight. If you would
Yeah.
want to elaborate
I think
who the
three
fighters
fighters
were.
are kind of unprofessional on their part because it is the biggest MFN. MFN was doing everything that they could do to bring about a big change, a revolution in the Indian MMA scene. They've introduced belts. Obviously, the paychecks have gone higher. And the only thing these fighters were asked to do was get in shape, cut weight,
Yeah.
and be professional about it. So
So
unfortunately, Dhruv missed.
Clinton missed weight, Dhruv missed weight,
And Sanjeev.
and even Sanjeev Budhwar missed weight.
Yeah, so I think three fighters missed weight, which was kind of sad. But again, we'll also come back to that. So, but going back to the decision, do you think it was an early stoppage for a title bout?
To be honest, B definitely looked like she was stung, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And she was definitely rocked. She had no clue where she was, although she was still kind of trying to throw hands. And we can again go back to UFC 281 when we talk about it, how Adesanya's stoppage was very controversial.
Yeah.
So anytime you don't have a clean knockout, you definitely tend to have people disagreeing with the stoppage. But this time, I think the referee saw her in a dizzy state and she was just trying to scramble for the legs. And Pooja was definitely throwing some heavy leather.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Heavy leather. You've been listening
we
to me.
heard this term a lot last
Yeah.
night. So it's
That's
just
good.
in my
That's
mind.
good.
So yeah, I think it was a fair stoppage. Maybe a couple more punches, we would have seen the outcome of where it went. But apart from that, kudos to Pooja once again for becoming the first strawweight female champion
Yes.
of the country of
Yes.
MFN.
I think that was so well deserved. Even though, to tell you honestly, me and Piyush had picked Killer Bee to win this bout, but
We just thought she was more experienced, but
Yeah.
she seemed like she had no interest in the fight.
Yeah.
She did not want to cut weight. She did not want to show up inside the cage. So yeah, it was disappointing for her fans, but I hope she comes back strong. You never know sometimes,
I think she was missing the
Yeah.
sting of the Killer Bee. She had become a very docile bumblebee. But anyway, so that was the first bout. It was not what we had expected, at least not what I had expected, because I thought it was going to be, it was going to go the full 5 rounds, like any championship bout would go, and they would be treading a lot of punches, a lot of striking. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But again, we've been discussing it. Congratulations, Pooja Tomar. You deserve it. And we are happy for you. So let's move on to the next bout. Yeah? The next
Yes.
bout was between Punyajit Likharu
And Dorji.
and Dorje Stanovic.
Yes.
Again, if you take my opinion, I was very disappointed because before this at MFN 9, when Dorje had fought Sanjeev Budhwar, he had taken Sanjeev to the ground and managed to control him. So we were hoping that he would bring the same kind of firepower or the fire in his belly when he was fighting in his weight class and with an opponent much smaller than Sanjeev. But again, I think he was all over the place. He had very winding punches.
I think what we got to see was a clear difference in the level of skill in this
I
fight.
think so, yeah.
We were really excited to see this fight and how the matchup would play. And Punyajit definitely looked like a level above this guy. And if you saw the fight, Punyajit started a little bit conservative, not trying to go into the fire, which is a great way to fight if you are coming back after a long time. But Punyajit displayed a lot of maturity. That's what I took away from that fight. And he countered when it was required. His wrestling defense was impeccable, on point. He stuffed all the single leg, double leg attempts of Dorji and then kept him on the ground, like controlled the entire fight. And he also busted his nose open. So was that the reason why the fight got stopped? I think it was a punch.
I think it was the groin shot.
And the infamous groin shot.
Yeah, it was a groin shot. But
Yeah.
the problem with this bout particularly was nobody gave us a clear picture of why there was Dorji didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Was it a doctor's stoppage? Did he throw in the towel?
I
Or
think,
what
I
happened?
think he just refused to come out of the corner. But maybe it was him quitting, realizing mid-fight that he's just getting bashed. And he's up against the opponent he can do nothing to, because his striking looked all over the place. Punyajit was countering him really well. His wrestling did not work. His jiu-jitsu seemed kind of subpar. So overall, he was completely dominated in that fight. And once he realized that, even the groin shot, the amount of time he was taking, over 5 minutes, I assume, that was weird to see. And maybe he was fishing for TKO, like how Sterling did against Peter Yan. So again, you can never say exactly when you're not in that situation. But this is what, as a viewer, I made out of it, that he was trying to look for a way out at some point of time when he realized that he was outmatched.
I think so because what I had a problem with was there were no announcements or nothing when at least a lot of people, obviously with MFN being telecast on Disney Hostar, as an audience who was staying up all night to watch these fights, we should have been educated on why Dorje was not fighting. So I was kind of sad, and I think it was just
So here's my theory about that. I think it is of utmost important role of the ring announcer or the person who takes the post-fight interview. Like Joe Rogan plays this role, DC plays this role, who fills in the information right after the match has ended and what happened during that time or what happened in the in-ring experience of the fighter. And they ask those relevant questions. What I had a problem with the MFN was that they have these so-called celeb
moments.
not only celeb moments but celeb announcers or celeb post-fight interviewee, if that's a word, interviewer, to come and ask questions who have clearly no idea that they are in the fight business or what kind of questions do people should ask, or at least it just felt completely scripted.
I think it almost felt like a soap opera
The-
when these guys were trying to dramatize everything. Okay, there were vague statements were like, "Kya fight kiya aapne?" It was a fantastic fight. There was no technicalities
Yeah,
being shown.
let's not talk about
I mean-
commentary. We all know
No, I
the
mean
level
not just
of
the commentary.
commentary.
We were talking about the post-fight interviews.
Yes.
The girl clearly had no idea what she was
Yeah,
doing.
she had the same question over and over. She was like, "Oh, how do you feel about it?" And the second question was, "What do you want to say to the fight fans?"
Yes.
I mean, come on, ask something about the
some relevant
experience.
questions, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even the guy, he was more about family drama than asking relevant questions because that's the kind of insight that we would want to know what's happening
Yes.
inside the cage, the octagon, and the blueprint is right there. You have the
Yeah.
UFC, you have the Bellator, you have the One Championship, and people over there are educated.
You know how this can be sorted out? It's a very, very simple step. Get someone who is actually a fighter to do those things.
Yeah.
So that they know what's going on, they know what questions people want to ask, what is relevant. You should not just call some Bollywood guy to do these things. So I think that's the solution right there. I hope MFN is listening or it rectifies it very soon. Gets someone who has their head in the game, or otherwise we'll have these kind of faux pas moments.
Yeah, four-power moments, not just that, because it's kind of sad because MFN is doing everything in its power to take Indian MMA to the next level. It's MFN 10 and the card was stacked. They are in a place like Palazzo, Versace, and I'm sure the expenses are very, very high.
Yeah, and the setup on top of the pool, that was
The
pretty
setup
cool.
on top of the pool was absolutely fantastic. But again, these little things, because the setup is one thing, but people watching want to know more insights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Joe Rogan and DC and Bisping so great post-fight interviewers.
Or UFC in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so great to watch. Okay, what did you do? Let's check out the replay. What was going on in your mind? Okay, you were throwing the jab. Somebody was taking you to the ground. You were not engaging in the first round. What happened? And suddenly what changed? You know,
Yes.
was this a game plan? So next time, hopefully, the MFN team get someone who is more adept in post-fight interviewing. You can keep your celebrities to do the initial tidbit of welcoming the people and just the outros or introducing the Shroff families.
Don't have them on the fight day.
Don't have
that's
them on the
our
fight
question.
day. All those masalas around the main event is great. But I think, and you have enough people in your team, I'm guessing, who can do this for you, you know?
Yes.
So I think that's that was also the post-fight interview. Punijit was kind of sad. He was not happy with his performance. He also apologized to his coaches, saying that I'm much better than this, and he wants to get into the title contention now.
Yeah.
So, but I think in his division, I think right now who is the champion? Angad.
Punjit is in Bantamweight. So yeah,
Bantams. Yeah. So
I think it's Angad.
No, Angad was fighting flyweight. He went down 57.
Okay.
So I think the next matchup, in my opinion, uh, uh, that's gonna blow up, or it's gonna be very explosive. Is gonna be between Punyajit
Yeah.
and my friend De Cruz.
Clinton De
Clinton
Cruz.
De Cruz. That's
Yeah.
going to be a banger of a fight. Both very technical fighters, good ground game, and also fantastic submissions off the back and from the top.
So Ulumi is the bantamweight champion right now. Then
Yeah, Ulumi is
this
the
the-
bantamweight.
this was the bantamweight fight,
That
right?
was the bantamweight
Yeah.
bout. Yeah.
So Ulumi, we'll talk about that fight very soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, Punajit is definitely the number one contender after this victory. This was
I
a very
think
very
number one and
dominant
number two
performance.
because we also have Clinton in the
Yeah.
same division. So these guys could have a fight and probably get the
To get
shot
the
to the
number one,
title.
yeah.
So that'll be
That should be
interesting.
good.
So I'm sure Alan already knows this, but yeah, it'll be a great fight if you can have Punyajit and Clinton De Cruz in the next bantamweight bout
Right.
towards their journey.
And it will be a clash of two powerhouse MMA gyms as well. The ICSA, again,
Yeah, ICSA.
amazing talents from there versus the cross train.
Cross-train and Bali MMA now
Yeah.
together. So yeah, it'll be a nice bout. So if you're listening, tell us what you think in the comments. We think Punijit and De Cruz is going to be a banger of a fight, and it'll be the best fight to choose the number one contender for the title. So tell us about it in the comments, or just DM us, whatever. All right. Moving up, let's go to Arsenba Ozukum versus Dinesh Noirem.
Yeah. So this is another one of those fights which ended up mid-round. I mean, mid-fight, or what do you want to call it. So,
Because Dinesh, I think, was fighting on a 10-day notice because
Yes.
Rahul could not
no,
fight.
it was not this one.
Yes, it was.
Rahul
Azukum
was-
supposed to be fighting.
Rahul was against Avizo.
What's it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Rahul was
yes.
against Avizo. So
Yeah, yeah.
Dushyant was the filler for that one.
Yeah.
But Dinesh, again, a very, very young fighter. I think it was his debut.
It was. He also was the guy who got the contract. through
MFN
the
contender winner, yeah.
MFN, road to MFN.
So
winner.
he walked through the line of fire, as they said, the MFN contenders fighting 4-5 fights in a day. So kudos to him. But this fight, Asenba was doing really well. He had knocked down Dinesh a couple of times, right?
Very first round, he knocked him out with a
Yeah.
beautiful left. Then he was also dominating the striking bout. Dinesh was.
He was picking him apart on the feet until
He got reversed. Also,
Yes.
he took him down to the ground. He pinned him towards the cage.
with
And
just one reversal.
one reversal is all it took.
Yeah.
But also, the funny part is, they called off the fight after the second round.
Yeah.
Once he had a lot of.
I think he got cut really badly.
But
over
it
the
has to be announced. It has to be told to the viewers. All right, Ozukum is not going to be fighting because he's got a deep cut, and the doctor says it's not good enough.
Yeah.
He's thrown in the towel. Some kind of information would be really, really helpful.
Like for someone who is completely not initiated to MMA, it might look weird. Oh, why the fight is stopped, or like because the viewers are so engaged, so invested in the fight while it is going. If it just abruptly gets to a stoppage, they deserve to at least know what caused it, right? So that's a curiosity thing that keeps lingering into the mind of the
I think
viewers.
that's why MFN also has commentary in English and
Yeah.
Hindi. They want to reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to reach a wider audience, you'll have to obviously increase the size.
It,
of the
it was a
funnel.
commentator's job as well, like because they
I
are
think so.
just the cage side, so they should be aware of the happening, so they can see it happening right in front of their eyes, which the cameras do not cover sometimes. So they can do a better job of informing the audience. But again, I guess they did announce it in this one that
But
there's
they
a
just
doctor
left.
stoppage.
It was. I mean, the cameras are panning towards the
Yeah.
audience when. I mean, there is 30 seconds
come
to
to
the
it.
bout.
We'll
I
come
mean,
to
we'll
it.
come to that. But yeah, Ozukum and Dinesh was a great fight. Ozukum had a fantastic start. He was all over the place with his strikes. He was outstriking Dinesh left, right, and center. And it also takes him to the ground and controls him. He
Yeah.
was almost on mount, and suddenly Dinesh changes
Reverses the position.
and from there he just starts his hailstorm of elbows and great ground control by that guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Like Arsenba was trying everything in his power, bridging, trying to elbow knee, escape and everything. But that mount is such a deadly position in MMA. it is so difficult to escape from,
Yeah.
especially when you are getting pounded by the elbows. And
Yeah, it wasn't.
so yeah, I think in that case the best technical reply is to turtle up, bridge, and don't try to just stay facing the person. Give up your back, because we can see that when you give the back, sometimes it's easier for you to hand fight and prevent the choke
Yeah.
than it is to get elbowed and get cut and then get the fight stopped. So maybe that was a technical error which our Senba will rectify in the coming fights. And these guys are so young right now and they have such killer striking. I mean, sky's the limit for them.
I hope so.
So, once again, our Senba, great job on this performance. Team TCA, only way up to go from here. Dinesh, congratulations on your amazing debut. You just reversed the entire match with just like 1 minute or 2 minutes in
Yeah,
your
I think he
in
just
the fight.
once he got to mount, he was hammering left, right, and center with his elbows from hell. So kudos to you, Dinesh.
And that's the beauty of MMA, I feel, that the fight is not over until it's over, right? Like it can just change any moment. So you can be dominating the fight for last 24 minutes, but the last minute of the fight, everything can change. And we have seen that happen twice in UFC this time.
281, it was right there. The
Israel
title fight.
Adesanya versus and Kamaru Usman.
Kamaru Usman fight. Yeah, so congratulations, Dinesh. We wish you all the best. May you get to a level where you're representing the country on the global platforms. So, and also, better luck next time. Also,
I
because
liked how emotional Dinesh was right after the fight.
very
in
humble
the
guy,
post-fight interview.
very nice. He was so emotional because I
was-
know they have sacrificed so much.
Yeah.
The guys from the Northeast have sacrificed so much, and also when you come into something like MFN 10 as an underdog,
Yeah.
and when people are saying, okay, I mean, the nerves are there. Plus, when you overcome such adversity and get a very dominating performance, I'm sure there is a lot of emotions that, want to just overflow.
Yeah.
And very humble guy. Congratulations to his coaches and him. So let's move on.
Yeah, let me intro this one. So this was a fight which we all had our eyes on. Like I was personally really excited for this fight. I don't know about you guys. Digambar Singh Rawat versus Akib Ali. And here was our prediction about this fight. We were in favor of Digambar because of his experience and everything. But we knew that if Akib started mixing his grappling and threatening Digambar and stood his ground, there might be chances that he can create for himself. And that's exactly how this fight panned out, didn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the Digambar started well. Akib, obviously, the newer guy, it was his debut MFN.
Another MFN
Fight.
contender winner.
Also, another MFN contender winner. He comes to the cage. Also, let's also talk about the seeding after a while. Yeah, I mean, somebody is a blue corner, somebody is a red corner. Nobody was taking care of these
We'll
things.
talk about
We'll talk
production,
about all
yeah.
those things later. But yeah, Digambar starts opening up. He starts hitting Akib. You're like, oh damn, it's going to be another clinic. Then I think the first round, 29-28 was a perfect. 29. It was
10-9.
10-9.
Yeah.
He was given 10-9. I think that was perfectly scored because Digambar was outstriking.
He was
Akib.
controlling the tempo, and as we had predicted, there were some nerves initially for Akib. So it's pretty normal as a beginner. You don't want to take your chances. But what I liked was that even when Digambar was throwing his best shots at him in the first round, he was not like backing off too much. He was holding his ground.
Absolutely.
He was standing steady. He was avoiding the dangerous shots. So he was doing pretty well in the first round, although he got outstruck. And then comes the second round.
Second round changed things dramatically. I think something inside Akib said, bro, this is your moment to shine. You cannot just let it go. Then he started bringing in the heat to Digambar. Digambar had no answers to his body lock and his wrestling entries. And I think it was an easy 10-9 for Akib. What a beautiful display of a complete mixed martial arts.
Yeah, that's the round where he started making it an MMA fight instead of a plain kickboxing fight. Like in the first
Not
round,
just,
in the first round, I remember Digambar chopping his legs a lot, right?
legs and throwing those
And-
beautiful precision strikes.
Yes, and in the second round, Akib was like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to engage in a kickboxing battle with this guy. So he started mixing up his body locks, entries to the double legs, and that got Digambar thinking. I think he also fatigued a little bit defending those takedowns, and we saw it when Akib started to land counter strikes.
Yes.
And that clearly swayed the wave of the fight or the momentum of the fight into his favor in the second round.
I think Akib realized in the second round that, okay, I can hit him too.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
good
also
enough.
made up of
Yeah, he's also
bones and
bones
flesh.
and flesh, and I'm good enough to be here. I'm good enough to be throwing some punches, and he landed some really good shots, and the ground control started getting better.
Yeah.
Then that was obviously it was first round Digambar, second round Akib Ali, the third round Akib was winning the fight.
Yeah, he was definitely ahead on the scorecards, in my opinion, in
In
that
my
round.
opinion too, yes.
But then he made a tactical error of switching to a knee bar from a bottom position. Although that knee bar was tight, but the thing is, joint locks in MMA are very,
Yeah.
very difficult thing to pull off unless like you have insane amount of precision and the other guy has also had some damage in the past where they don't want to tap to it. But here he had a really tight knee bar. Technically speaking, if he would have switched to maybe a lat grip instead
Yeah.
of the two-handed grip, maybe he would have
And
gotten
the
a
top
better
lat
result.
grip, because when you're going into a ground system and you're attacking the knee, the bottom knee is generally not a great place to be at. It's always the top knee that we've learned through all our grappling experiences. But yeah, at one point in time, the knee bar looked tight. I even grimaced once. Oh my God, is he going to break his
He was
knee?
definitely taking some pops. Maybe like 100% sure we did not get to see him limping or anything. But I think he took some damage. But those damages are very minor in an MMA fight when you have adrenaline rushing and all of that. So and in those moments he started eating a lot of shots. It reminded us of how Gary Tonin got knocked out
Yes.
against Thon Lee. It reminded us of how Ryan Hall got knocked out
Oh yeah, recently.
attempting against Chito Vera, right? So going for legs is a very, very sketchy thing. If you can pull it off, you become an instant superstar.
No, I think it was also he was kind of adamant. He started going belly down, and he was on his knees. And Digambar had inverted his knee. The knee bar wasn't there. But Akib was desperate. He started throwing those uppercuts from the bottom, which was landing on his face.
Yeah.
So that, my friend Akib, I think cost you cost you that fight. But my God, for a debutant, what a way to make waves in the Indian MMA scene.
Yeah, he pushed Digambar to the limit, and Digambar, I remember post-fight, he was like, "Okay, this was my worst performance of all time," but maybe he just faced a great fighter,
Better fighter,
better
yeah.
fighter. And whenever you face people who are close to your level, they make you realize that maybe your A game is not your real A game.
Yes.
Maybe that needs more refinement. So congratulations to Digambar on the victory, and 100% sure. Once again, these fighters are so young that they'll just continue to get better and go upwards from here. So I hope Digambar goes to the drawing board, makes a few adjustments. Akib goes back with more confidence, believing in himself that he does belong in that octagon, in that cage. And this was a great fight. We loved it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the first part of the MFN 10 card. So we'll be back in about 1 second. Welcome back. This is still Rajiv and Piyush at Rebel Radio, and we are discussing the recently concluded MFN 10 card. So we were just breaking down Digambar Singh Rawat versus Akib Ali. What a fight. So moving on from there, we are going upwards towards Avizo Lanamai versus Dushyant. Yeah, so Avizo Lanamai, obviously one of the better students from TCA under coach Kremli. And Dushyant, who just took this fight on a 10-day notice because Rahul had some technicalities, and he couldn't go to Dubai.
He said he had some visa issues, I guess.
I think
or
passport issues.
Passport issues.
Yeah, so I think Dushyant took this fight on a 10-day notice. It was a short fight. Obviously, Dushyant was outclassed by Lanamai. Amazing fighter. Lanamai just starts throwing all the right punches and kicks on Dushyant. Dushyant kind of frustrated initially, throwing huge overhands, which were like bowling actions. Obviously, those are panic shots. And he tries a few shots, desperation shots from very far, which is easily stuffed by Lanamai. After that, in an exchange, they go to the ground. Avizo takes the back, and it's an easy choke. That was about it. So,
Yeah.
what is your take?
I feel Avizo came with a vengeance because his previous friend Arsenba lost. So he just came to make it quick and make it clean.
Yes.
And that's what he did. He started by throwing some accurate strikes to Dushyant, which made him go in a panic wrestling mode. And once he started wrestling him, he stuffed his takedown attempts, went to the back, and from there finished it in a very clean rear naked choke finish.
It was
So
easy money for him, I think.
Yeah.
But again, kudos to Dushyant for taking this fight on a 10 days notice. I hope you find a great team to train with, so that because you have the heart, because I've seen you at the MFN Contender Series and you deserved to be there. But maybe you were not just as prepared for someone like
I mean,
Lanamai.
we would love to invite Dushyant to our gym.
Yes,
Why
if
not
you
come
if
and
you
train with
if you
us?
think you want to come and train with us, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Because he has all the right skills. I mean, criterias like he has strength, he has explosiveness. All he needs is a little bit more technical direction.
Yes.
Which I think we can help him with. So Dushyant, if you're listening this, you are free to come and train at Rebel MMA India. Let's talk a little bit more about Avizo. Avizo once again delivers a very, very impactful performance where he takes his opponent out very cleanly in a very smooth fashion. So I think he's in the featherweight division, right? So moving up, he should be getting a number one contender fight or
Yes.
the title fight in the featherweight.
I think so. But again, funnily, Avizo called out Manish Mahanta. Manish
Yeah.
Mahanta is also is a great talent from Assam. He also won the contract.
What gym is Manish from?
He used to train. I think Manish is with Hillside right now.
Okay.
But again, he was one of the prodigies of Babajit out of Bidang. He used to train out of Bidang. Now, great fighter. But again, he's been fighting amateur for the longest time.
Yeah. There was a lot of hype behind Manish, I heard, in the MFN Contenders series.
Yes, and well-deserved hype also.
Yeah.
He's a great fighter. But I think Lanamai wants to fight you, Manish. So if I know you've already made up your mind, so make it happen. Let's see what happens from there.
And I love that these fighters are calling out
Yes.
other fighters, and that's a great strategy or a marketing tool that fighters should adopt post their fights. Because most of the fighters that we see, they come, they have the same written, repeated answers.
Yeah.
But what really sells your brand is your call out. And I remember Charles Sonnen talking about it a lot, that your post-fight interview is one of the most important advertisement that you can put out
Yes,
there
because
for
I
yourself.
think our fighters are too indebted to MFN because they've been thanking Aisha Shroff, Tiger Shroff, Mr. Alan Fernandez over and over again for all the... It's great.
I think it was in their contract.
I don't know.
Because each and everyone did the same thing. I know that you're indebted, but I mean, come on. We don't see UFC fighters going out there and thanking Dana every single time or thanking...
No, because MFN
Hunter
is
every
nothing without
single
the
time.
fighters. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Shroff family has done everything. Alan is the man behind MFN, but without the fighters, there is no soul. It's just a cage.
Yeah. It just seems a little bit cheesy, in my opinion. That
Cheesy
you...
and scripted, and it is not required. I think
Yeah.
you guys are there because you've worked so
You
hard
deserve
for
it.
it. You deserve it. You deserve to be there. Thank people that have helped you. But through MFN 1 to MFN 10, I think we've heard that a lot
That
of
line
times.
a lot, yeah.
So, I mean, there are other things that you want to do. You want to market yourself well, so that's just our opinion, my opinion and Piyush's opinion. So next time, call people out, make it more interesting, let rivalries soar, let us all
ask for that post-fight bonus.
ask for that post-fight bonus, of course. Let's talk about knocking someone else out. So create these rivalries that we can all get excited about, So I think that's just an advice. I mean, but again, yeah, having said that, enough.
And some fighters do it right. So kudos to Avizo for calling out
Yeah, that's
Manish.
what we need. That's what we need, especially with someone interviewing you who has no clue of the fight business. I mean, just take the microphone and do what you have to do, like some of you did, which was excellent. So yeah, please, guys, you guys are the soul of any fight promotion. Without you, there is nothing. We could have billions and billions of dollars, but if there are no fighters inside the octagon, nobody's going to watch it. Okay?
All right, moving on to the next one. Okay, in my opinion, this was the most controversial fight of the night. All
Oh
right.
my God, it was not even It was just sad.
Let's just say it was a robbery, but let me announce the name. So, Muhammad Musa Raish versus Clinton Kenin de Cruz. Okay?
It was the bantamweight bout.
Yeah, it was I think it was a bantamweight because Punijit
Punijit
was
also
in the same division.
bantamweight. Yeah, so it started so well. These guys touch gloves, and Clinton immediately goes for the takedown.
And does the most controlled takedown ever, lands up in the half guard, starts beating this guy up, sets up a dash choke, and Musa had no answer for a dash choke except turtling up, which is a good defense. But then Clinton switched to a belly up version of the same dash, and I heard the commentators talking about it being anaconda or something.
I think we
which
need to
is-
educate ourselves, my friends.
I think you need to just train, guys.
Yeah.
If you don't train, this lapse will happen. Yeah.
Faux pas will happen.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
So in that moment, the ref comes in. Should we name drop the ref as well?
Of course, why not?
It was Ranjit. I don't know his full name. And he checks on by tapping onto the shoulder of Musa.
No, he just stops the fight.
He taps on the shoulder for a second, and I don't know what kind of feedback will you get out of tapping someone's shoulder, and just the next moment he stops the fight. And as soon as Clinton lets go, Musa just props up saying, what happened? I'm still here. And I mean, he was surviving that choke for last 15 seconds in a super, super tight dars. And after surviving those brutal moments, if somebody just snatches the victory out of you by saying, oh, it's all over because I said so, with no review, that's a very disrespectful and the biggest robbery that we can say that it happened in MFN.
I think so, because it was the darts was tight, no doubt. I think the logical way to go about it is to check his hands. We've seen that happen in the UFC. You check your hands, you raise the hands up and say, are you okay? Give me a thumbs up. If he gives you a thumbs up, you know he's okay. I know the referees are trying to be keep the fighters safe and everything, but you also have to remember that it's everything for the fighters. Yeah. They've trained for this for 3 months. I'm sure Musa had a camp prepared
100%.
against because he was fighting someone as good as Clinton, and just robbing him of the fight, and after that not even grimacing, and after then checking with the judges, is it okay to go on or not? That was insane for me. So bad call on the referee's part.
This was the worst decision that I've seen in MMA for a while. It reminded me of the Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren fight, where Ben Askren had that bulldog / headlock choke, and Robbie Lawler's arm just went limp for a second. And in that moment also, I think it was Herb Dean probably, he lifted his hand up and the hand dropped, which is a clear indication that the fighter has gone out. But even in that case, as soon as Ben let go, Robbie just propped up saying, I'm cool, nothing happened. So in this case, at least that effort should have been made. Worst case scenario, the fighter passes out and you get a clear indication of it. He comes back. It's not like they are getting knocked out really hard, which is doing like a severe brain damage, which also the refs have a reputation of not stop very early. So I don't know. This definitely left a bad taste in my mouth personally. Musa deserved better. So
but I think MFN 11, if you guys you have to run it back again. These guys have to meet again, and after whoever wins this bout fights Punijit, and then he becomes whoever the winner is becomes the contender for the belt.
But Clinton, right in the post-fight interview, asked for the champion. So I don't know how it's going to happen.
But I think if everything has to be fair, Musa is not a joke, bro. We've seen him fight.
He just put a L on his professional record, which is a pretty sad thing for a
that
fighter.
too on the very first round. Yeah. So his record looks very bad. Plus, the amount of hard work these guys put in is ridiculous.
And it's definitely no fault of Clinton, to make it perfectly clear.
Absolutely.
It's the fault of the ref, the official, which is involved.
Clinton won the fight fair and square.
Yeah, he did his job. He held on to a choke till the very last second. It's the job of the ref to see if the person is awake or has he passed out, and not make such quick rash decisions, especially in a choke where you have the time to figure things out. If maybe it's a knockout situation where the fighter is wobbly and things like that, like in the Killer B fight, it's okay. you get a pass because you don't want the fighter to get unnecessary strikes,
Yeah, on damage, of course.
unnecessary damage. But this was unforgivable in my book. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to Richard Mearns versus Shamanand. What a fight. Shamanand showed us that he is here to stay. And I think Shamanand has earned his way to the title. The first bout in 2000, MFN 4, where Shamanand got brutally knocked out by Sanjeev Budwar. I think it's time that MFN makes it happen. He's been asking for that fight for a while.
Yeah.
And now that Sanjeev is a champion, I think there is no one else except Shamanand
This
that
is the
deserves
only fight that makes sense.
to be the number
Shamanand
one contender.
versus Sanjeev Budwa. That's the fight to make next MFN or the MFN after that, whenever
Yeah.
these guys are ready. Let's do that because Shamanand, man, I was definitely hoping that Richard Mearns, once he takes him down, he might do some damage. But as we saw, the size difference was a lot. Richard Mearns looked like a weight class apart. And apart from that, the skill difference, the takedown defense, and everything Shamanand was throwing at Richard Mearns was just way, way, way powerful.
Like we discussed in the earlier podcast, because Richard has not been training as a fighter, because Richard has become a teacher now. He's traveling. He was in AKA Goa. Now he's in Kathmandu at Gymkhana, and he's teaching people. So when you're fighting someone at Shamanand, you better have a 3-month prep time. Better study his game and the kind of power this man possesses, because that knockout was brutal. That right hand.
At this point of time, I think Richard Mearns had no chance because Shamanand, he stuffed all his takedown efforts. He immediately bounced back up every single time Richard Mearns took him down, fatigued him out, busted his face open, and man, that right hand which knocked Richard out,
That was yeah,
flatlined him, completely flatlined him.
absolutely flatline. Because I think Richard is a fantastic teacher. He's a great representative of the sport. But to see someone go out like that, and after that, Shamanand had a very quirky way of saying, "It's time we get a diamond back from England." So that's the kind of stuff we want to listen to.
Yeah.
So Shamanand, kudos to you, bro. I mean, you are one of the better fighters in the country, and what a comeback you've made. You are a case study in itself. Yeah, and the kind of skills and your ferocity that you're displaying, fight after fight, you won this fair and square, and I think you have to be in contention for the title belt.
I would go as far as to say that Shamanand may be our next hope for the UFC. Why not? Because he has shown such dominant display. If he wins the MFN belt, I personally wouldn't want him to just limit himself to MFN. He should be going out, competing in a much more bigger organization against much better talent, because he has that power, he has that knockout ability, he has great takedown defense, and these things make you a champion.
Of course, I think he deserves it, and we wish you all the best. That was a quick fight where Richard had no answer to Shamanand, the mystery that is Shamanand and the powerhouse that is Shamanand. So kudos to you. Again, Richard, you are a great fighter. We at Rebel, we really respect you. Hopefully, next time when you fight someone like Shamanand or anyone, I think you have a solid camp, so where you're kind of getting prepared for preparing for someone, a monster like Shamanand. So that was the fight. I know all of us watched it. We're just trying to break it down for you guys. So moving on to the next fight is Fabricio Oliveira versus Aziz Beck.
Satya Baldev.
Satya Baldev. Sorry if we are pronouncing your name.
Satya Baldev.
So Kyrgyzstan versus Brazil. There was no contest here because Aziz Beck was outstriking Fabricio left, right, and center. I mean, his setups for the leg kick was insane, and that was the bout that we started seeing the problem of that slippery mat.
Slippery canvas, yeah.
Yeah, Aziz was complaining all throughout because he was trying to kick and he was slipping.
That fight made me reminded me of how the fights happen when it happens in the ice skating ring.
Yeah.
Have you seen those ice hockey fights where
Yeah.
people are trying to grab you and throw punches and you're slipping at the same time you're falling? This reminded me of that because the canvas was so slippery. He was complaining throughout. The ref finally listened after they they were about to slip like 3-4 more times, and I think it was mainly the dew factor probably because
I
it
don't know
was out
because
in the
I think
open.
these things have to be factored in,
Yeah.
because you have to understand everybody is intelligent. Whoever is organizing intelligent enough to understand there'll be dew factors, there'll be sweat. So the kind of canvas that they have to pick has to uh, be sweat resistant. It
Yeah.
should be able to hold people together. Just like we have tiles for the bathroom. I mean, it was not as wet as the bathroom, but you have slip resistant tiles. So I think, despite MFN putting so much of money and effort in making MFN what it is today, these basic things have to be taken into consideration first. The octagon is the ground zero
Yeah.
of your
Event.
your event. I mean, you have to get the right kind of mats, get the right kind of material to cover those mats, so that it doesn't look like, because it was so unfair for kickers, kickbox,
For all the strikers, it became
Yeah.
so difficult after that
and even
because
for takedowns, they were slipping. They were slipping. If people were sprawling, they were sprawling 3 feet away, because it was kind of sad. So hopefully these things will be taken stock of. But again, it is the 10th bout. So I think it is high time that we do not overlook the most important aspect of a fight game: the cage, the canvas, and the fighters, rather than make it about other peripheral things that are not really important, because people are intelligent enough to look through the bullshit and call you out when you make such silly mistakes, so yeah, it was. I mean, there's nothing much to say about this fight.
we can in the same vein talk about the camera switches
Oh
and the
my
music.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Come on.
I know camera switches. It's
MFN.
30 seconds out. The 30 seconds. It's a crucial time.
There is an exchange happening where
Exchange
people are getting
happening,
rocked.
and you are showing us people in the audience. How is that relevant? Who is sitting in the switcher? Does he even know, or does she even know what a fight game is all about? I mean, please do not misunderstand that we are trying to criticize everything, but we are your fans too. We want MFN to be standing out as one of the better organizations
And
in
I think-
Asia and in the world.
And I think these things are annoying not just for us, but everyone watching, because
Everyone
everyone
watch-
who is a fight fan wants to watch the fights, not the people during the
Yeah.
fights. During that 5 minutes of time, please do not switch the camera. MFN.
Yeah,
Come on.
please do not switch the camera. We don't want to look at women. We don't want to look at Kyrgyzstani flags. We don't want to look at anything except the fights.
And the music.
Oh my God.
Please, we had migraines happening to us because that music would just continue If there was a break, if the fight was not going on, the music was on the entire
Even when
time.
Gerard was announcing.
I know that you love your theme song, guys. Come on, but we don't want that music to be played throughout.
Yeah.
Play it in the beginning, play it in the live audience. Please cut the feed for the TV.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's annoying. Get ready to fight. Get ready to fight. Get ready to fight. I mean, this is what you will have a very bad ripple effect. I mean, people are going to be cringed every time they hear "Get Ready to Fight." I think maybe it's a great song, maybe it's not a great song. It's your personal choice. But I think let's keep it to the minimum, like Piyush rightly said. I mean, beginning of the fight, yeah.
We get the idea that you're trying to play the music and enjoy
Yeah, I'm
the
sure
music,
you're proud
but
of it. Be proud of it. Be proud of everything else.
Yeah.
But we are paying viewers. We have Disney Hostar membership, and more than anything else, people are sitting at midnight and watching your fights. So I think that was your goal, and congratulations towards that you guys are inching towards becoming a global brand.
And
But yeah,
the last point, and after this I'll leave MFN alone. Please do not have felicitation ceremony in between the fights. Let the fight order go on without interruption.
Of
Guys,
course.
that just prolongs the event. That makes people stay up late, which people have work to do, and as a viewer you don't want to get interrupted in between fights. Why is UFC so different than other organizations or other promotions? It's because they do not mess with the fight order. They do not cause an interruption. Everything works smooth, and the chain of command is followed, chain of the fights is followed as it should be. There's we see the top of the world's celebrity in UFC arena, but it's not switching during the mid-fight, or they are not being brought in the octagon unless there is a stoppage or unless the fight has ended, right?
But the whole tournament has ended.
Even The Rock, when he came to the octagon, was when Masvidal won the belt, to put on the belt.
Yeah.
Use the celebrities in those moments. Sorry, guys. Use the celebrities in those moments, but please do not switch to celebrities or felicitate someone. I know that you are great friends with Sheikh and everyone, but please,
Yeah, I mean,
please be professional. in
this you
regard.
can take it as two guys ranting about it, or please take it as a feedback, because we really are grateful for what MFN is doing. But again, we also want to see some great stuff happening so that we can call MFN one of the best fight promotions in the world.
Yeah, we want to be proud of it.
We want to be proud of
It
it.
shouldn't be like, oh, the US organization does it way better.
Yeah,
Why can't we do
yeah,
it way better?
yeah. Let's not make it a soap opera. We're not looking for a soap opera. We're just sitting at 12 or 1 a.m. in the morning to watch the fights. Not somebody coming up to the center and talking about how great do you feel? What is this happening? Without you, nothing would have happened. I don't really care. That's your organization. Do what you have to. But
Interviewing audience unnecessarily, like what was that?
what was that? You want to show that, okay, we are popular. You don't need validation when you actually become popular. People will know. So when there'll be 55,000 fans screaming, you don't have to show the audience. We'll hear it even before it happens.
Yeah,
But
let's
again,
move on to the next fight because
So,
this
oh.
rant was very necessary to put it out
no,
there.
I mean, it's not a rant. It's positive or critical feedback, critical appreciation, constructive criticism. That's the word. That's Angad Best. No, sorry. Jojo Rajkumari versus Priya Sharma. That was the worst fight of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah, I concur. Jojo Rajkumari looked completely out of place. Her striking, last time she knocked out the opponent in the first round, but this time her striking looked really, really awful. Her takedown defense, man, the less we say about that, the better.
She was
because
hugging Priya's head when you have to be fishing for the underhook. I know. This is going to probably make you angry or not like us, but as fight fans, as someone who love what you are doing.
And this was a title fight, right?
It was not a title
Oh,
fight.
it was not a title fight.
So yeah, I mean,
Thank God.
Priya was getting into body locks, and you were holding the head and hitting her like that. I mean, the only
There's
thing,
no concept of pummeling.
there's no concept.
She was trying to frame with her leg extended wide, push kicking her against the cage.
Yeah. So I think that was
Jojo, you need a lot of work into your grappling if you want to become a well-rounded MMA fighter. You have good striking, although it did not show up against Priya, who really, really, again, like Likharu, kept a conservative approach. A little bit more way conservative, in my opinion. She could have taken her down multiple times from that position, but she just, wasted a little bit of time against the cage. Maybe that was a strategy to fatigue Jojo out, which was clearly working because Jojo was breathing very heavy. At some point, she also threw her mouth guard on the ground, which is a unique strategy to buy some time.
Yeah.
But
Priya outclassed her. I mean,
yeah, this was a very big mismatch.
And Priya basically just took her to the ground, and she had no answer, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
So kudos to Priya for winning the fight. She also mentioned that she had a stitch, which was opened up, a cut which was opened up, and she had stitches right till the day of the fight.
Yeah.
So kudos to her for still coming out and
Putting
converting
up a
this
show,
into a
yeah.
win.
Putting up a show. I think she deserves it. Wonderful.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we'll be back. We're taking a short break.
All right, guys, we are back once again, and this is the final stretch of our discussion of MFN 10. Again, it was a brilliant card. We had some great fights. We had some not so great moments, but the last 3 fights were definitely meant to be super exciting. So let's not waste any time and get into it. This was the first or the second title bout of the night. It was a flyweight title up on the line. Angad Best versus Muhammad Gamal. Muhammad Gamal from the Middle East and Angad Best from our local Uttarakhand, right? So what did you think about, what was your prediction about this fight and how did you think it played out, Rajiv?
I had predicted that Angad would win the fight because Uh, to my surprise, though, Gamal brought the heat. The first two rounds, he was outstriking Angad Bisht. But it's something I think Angad has gotten used to, because against Dhruv Chaudhary also, it almost felt like the same blueprint. Against Chaitanya Gawali also, it almost felt like the same fight where Angad's opponents seem to be getting the upper hand. But once Angad gets your back, this
Yeah.
guy will choke you out. So the first two rounds, Gamal was outclassing Angad beautifully. Okay?
Which I did not personally believe to, because Mohammad Gamal, as we discussed, was on a 3-fight losing streak.
Yes.
So I definitely thought that Angad will just run through this guy. But the first two rounds, as you said, it was Mohammad Gamal dominating in the striking
The
department.
striking exchange, his combination was just so slick.
Yeah.
You know, he was throwing amazing leg kicks. Angad is definitely icing his leg because there was a huge swell on his lead leg, on his left leg, because Gamal was just banging that leg from everywhere. If Angad is watching this, please share your video share a video of your lead leg. We
Or a
really want to
picture.
see, or a picture, because we really want to see the kind of damage. But then Angad goes back after the second round or the third round, I believe, and his coach tells him that, bro, do this for the country. Make the country proud. This switches Angad Bisht. This is according to his post-fight interview. Okay, then Angad Bisht starts walking towards Gamal, and after a few exchanges, they get towards the cage, and Angad just jumps up on Gamal's back. He gets a beautiful body lock, has a seat belt. He's trying to crank. Gamal is doing a good job of defending, but Angad is patient, and he's like a backpack. He's not going anywhere. Now it's been 30 seconds, and Gamal is carrying two people's body weight. And after a while, Angad does find his forearm under Gamal's neck, just pulls him to the ground, and it's just about 3 seconds. Gamal is tapping frantically. So we've seen this repeat mode, if I may call it so, of how Angad likes to fight. He goes there.
Angad may be the comeback man in
he's
Indian
he's
MMA,
like
right?
Nate Diaz, bro.
Yeah. So he's losing in the first two rounds, or getting at least out matched. But then he finds that trump card in his pocket.
He just
and-
switches.
Yeah. So this was a reminder. The way you described it, it definitely brought back the memories from Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier,
Yeah.
where Charles was getting hammered, and then he just found the back, jumps on it, and
Exactly.
then locks
you're
in the
right.
RNC
Great
finish.
comparison. Yeah, exactly the same position. Exactly the same position. The same corner. Angad gets to the back, and Angad.
And once again, Angad becomes the flyweight champion of the MFN.
And so well deserved.
Yeah.
This man has been doing such amazing work, not just for himself, but for his entire team. Look at where he is today. He went,
Single-handedly putting Uttarakhand on the map.
yeah, and what a team he has created.
Yeah.
And what a team of, and the best part is he is promoting MMA as a way to get fit for other people too.
Uttarakhand might be the next powerhouse of a state to produce
Like
fighters,
Dagestan.
right? Yeah, it might be the Dagestan of India. We have Angad Bist, we have Anshul Jubli,
Digambar.
we have Digambar now. We have so many people just popping out.
And
of,
other guys, we don't even. I was fortunate enough to see some of these guys fight at the Contender Series, the Road to MFN. Some of them lost, but they are ready. They're coming. I mean, you're right. They're coming to make ripples in the Indian subcontinent and hopefully the world soon enough. The young guns are just blazing. These guys are crazy. So shout out to Angad Bisht and Mutant MMA from Dehradun.
Congratulations.
Congratulations for becoming the first flyweight champion in the MFN. So yeah, kudos to you. You won the fight fair and square. You didn't want the referees to even ponder. You just took the back, choked him out, cleaned him out. So also, having said that, Mohammad Gamal, congratulations to you too. Fantastic display of skills, and you also had a panache and also the swag of what a great fighter should look like. You're getting hit, you're taunting Angad again and again. You're getting hit, you're like, oh damn, nothing's happening, bro. I'm getting you. So that's the kind of swag that we would love to see. One of the fights of the night. After the Akib Ali and Digambar Singh fight, this probably was the best fight of the night for me. So yeah, congratulations and kudos to both of you. If you want to add something, or should we move on?
Let's move on. Let's move on to the next fight, which was again very, very exciting. Dhruv Chaudhary versus Ulumi Kareem.
Oh, wow.
India versus Pakistan. That's how they were touting it. And I loved the way Ulumi addressed this in the pre-fight press conference, where it was like, I'm all about peace.
Beautiful,
Peace
yeah.
through sports. Instead of trying to divide by putting two countries against, pitching two countries, or the ideas of nations against each other, let's just make it about a person versus another person and let the better man win. So that was really a great thought by Ulumi, and that's what sports should do. We should not, I mean, we get caught up in this cricket mania where we always go online and start trolling the Pakistani fans, or they start trolling Indian fans, where at the end of the day, sports should be about uniting. And that's what Ulumi's message was. And the way he fought, man.
Oh my God. Dhruv was outclassed from the very beginning, bro. Dhruv had no answer. And I think there was some technical bias also. I was not very happy with the refereeing, because at one point in time, Ulumi had taken Dhruv. He just lifted Dhruv from his corner, took him towards his corner, banged him to the floor. And I think the referee was Daniel Isaac. He just accused Ulumi of holding the cage, and he just stood them up. I think that was unfair. So I think at that point in time, Ulumi realized that this cannot go to the judges.
Yeah.
He has to be very, very definite in his victory, and he did. That right hand from hell put Dhruv to sleep. And Dhruv was already out, as we saw, with the massive right hand he had on, that banged his chin to Timbuktu. But after that, the referee didn't stop the fight, and Ulumi had to hammer him about a couple of shots. I think that was uncalled for.
We just do the opposite, no? We let the fighters eat more strikes on the ground when they are already knocked out, versus we stop the fight a little bit earlier when the fighter is in a submission. It's just like wrong way of operating. Anyways, so props to Ulumi on becoming the bantamweight champion of the MFN.
Yes, and like you said, even his post-fight interview was all about peace, all about unity. I think that is what we should look forward to. I mean, sports. Have you ever seen Virat Kohli and his let's say, a Pakistani captain fighting? I am sure they have a ball. Yeah. I think it's the polarizing happens outside of the cricketing field.
Yeah,
also.
It's a vested interest. So just wants to like.
Yeah, I think he just put it so beautifully. I'm all about peace through sports. I think it's his sister's organization, so he had a long speech, great speech also. So congratulations to you, Ulumi. Dhruv, obviously a bad day for Dhruv, but again, I don't think Dhruv is going to be sitting down after this. He's going to be working very hard, and he's going to be coming back for a rematch. Dhruv, we've seen, Dhruv has been around in the Indian MMA scene for a while, and I'm sure he's going to bounce back. But next time, you have to bring the heat on, my friend, to someone like Ulumi, because we had understood that Ulumi had lost to someone like Farhad. He got knocked out. Was it the Brave?
Yeah, it was in Brave.
It was in Brave, but people thought it was going to be easy. But I think me and Piyush, we discussed that it's not going to be easy.
His striking was very technical from the last fight that he had.
It was
where he finished the opponent.
Yeah, his Muay Thai is on point, his kickboxing, if I may call it. And that's what he displayed. The right hand from hell just knocked the daylights out of Dhruv. And congratulations to you, my friend Ulumi, for becoming the inaugural bantamweight champion of MFN. And better luck next time, Dhruv. Keep your head high and work harder, come back stronger, and do your thing, man. You're one of the better fighters in the country.
He's one of the legends of Indian MMA.
He's one of the legends of Indian MMA.
He's been around forever now.
So we are rooting for you. But again, yesterday, Ulumi was the better fighter. So that's why he is the champion today. So this is the bantamweight fight. So like we were discussing, Punijit versus Clinton de Cruz. And then the winner of that fight gets to meet the champion. That's going to be interesting.
Who does Ulumi fight in the interim? Like, does he fight or?
I think, I don't know. Because it's just the concept of belt is so new. Because we also saw that there is no apparent ranking
Yeah, I
In
think now the rankings will follow
there's
because the
no ranking
belt is
because
there.
anybody like be in the Gamba versus Akib was the underdog, but he was given the red corner. The Gamba walked in front before
Yeah,
Akib Ali.
the entrance was a little bit weird because they were getting the more experienced fighter to come first,
Yeah,
whereas it's just the opposite. But anyways,
yeah.
let's move on to the final fight of the night, the
Oh,
main
final of
event.
the fight of the night. We both got it
Sanjeet
so wrong.
Sanjeet Budhwar versus Atabek.
But by this time, if I may add, the
What time was it when you were watching it live?
around 1:05 because it lasted. It went the whole
Distance?
distance,
All 5 rounds?
all 5 rounds. But Atabek came in strong. Sanjit was conservative for the first time. And Sanjit is never worried about. He puts his hands down, he charges and batters you to the ground once his body shots land. But he was conservative because Atabek looked much taller. His reach was much longer. So Atabek was getting through Sanjit, but Sanjit, even with his weird stance, is a phenomenal. I think as a phenomenal fighter.
He has his own fighting style.
I
We can
think
just say that.
it's just phenomenal how someone at this level of a game can put his hands down and still charge forward. So that was amazing to see. But again, in Atabek's defense, when they started fighting, it was absolutely non-conducive for anyone to throw kicks. He tried to throw a high kick once. Sanjit just touched it, and Atabek just fell on his back because the mats were so bloody slippery. And in the third round, Atabek got Sanjit's back, and
Yeah, that was the crucial moment which
that was a
Atabek
crucial
failed to convert.
But yeah, but the problem is he had double unders. He didn't have a seat belt. He had double unders, and Sanjit was doing very well holding one of his hands.
I forgot, did he have a body triangle locked in? Or was
Yes,
it? Okay.
but the body triangle is locked at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it
So
locked
that
up.
allows the person to spin.
Spin,
Because
yeah.
there is a third triangle which exists there, remember?
Yes,
The theory of the
I mean,
fourth triangle.
this guy can go all day about that. But yeah, there were some technical discrepancies or holes in Atabek's back take also because there was no cranks to his face like Khabib does. He doesn't go
Yeah.
for a clean choke. He just holds you by the jaw and cranks your face.
Even Avizo made that adjustment, right? Where
Yes.
he went from trying to lock a full RNC, which people usually pull the hand because
because
of the
the
gloves.
Yeah.
So then you have to switch to this short RNC and then try to finish.
Yeah, so I think he didn't do that, and that cost him the title. But also, Piyush, what happened because if Sanjit missed the weight, why was he given the belt?
That's a good question.
That surprised me because anybody who's like Oliveira did the same thing.
Yeah.
He just became the interim champion, remember?
It's the MFN world. That's
The
my
same
reply.
in worlds. I don't know what's happening. So kind of frustrating because we are rooting for MFN.
The title could have just been vacant, and then there should have been another
Yeah.
fight for that.
Just like we didn't have a champion when
Charles was
missed
dethroned.
weight. Yeah, I mean he was as a champion he missed weight and the belt was just stripped. So I didn't understand that drama over there.
Yeah.
But having said that, Sanjit Budhwar is still undefeated. He is still an enigma for some of the better fighters from the world. He's also proven that he's not just a great fighter amongst Indian fighters, but also fighters from across the country. And we at Rebel Radio wish him the best. And
Next fight should be Sanjeet versus Shamanand.
Oh, we've been
That's the
saying that,
only
bro.
fight to make.
that's the only fight to make and the right fight to make.
Yes.
Because this rivalry has gone on for the longest time.
It has a beautiful backstory. Like Shamanand makes his MFN debut and gets brutally knocked out by Sanjeet, who was then an experienced fighter. And then Shamanand goes on to this revenge tour where he absolutely demolishes everyone who comes into his way. Abhishek Negi, destroyed. Krishna Heer, battered. And then Richard Mons, flatlined. And now he once again finds himself as probably the number one contender against Sanjeet Budhwar, who is now a champion in the same division.
Yes.
So the story has written itself. I think the MFN has to make this fight. And I would be rooting for Shamanand once again because he, I believe, is the future of Indian MMA along with Anshul Jubli. So yeah, let's hope that fight happens. And that concludes. If you have any other
No,
thoughts to add to this?
I think that concludes the amazing event that was MFN 10 with its obvious ups and downs, the music, the hosts, and bad reffing, and all of that. But kudos to the team. I mean, without you guys, we would not have seen these athletes grow to the potential that they have become today.
Yeah.
Without Alan Fernandez, the Shroff families who put in their own money, I'm guessing, you know, so much of money, not just some amount of money, a lot of money, and these guys have a bright future right in front of them, and the paychecks have just gotten bigger. So this brings out the kind of hope that was needed in this country, where fighters from smaller places or fighters from not so privileged families can actually start dreaming about making it someday to the MFN world and making a living out of it. So kudos to Alan Fernandez, the Shroff family, the IMA team also, obviously.
Yeah, we have to overstate the things that MFN is doing correct, like increasing the fighters' paycheck, bringing MMA, Indian MMA to a more global audience by
Yes.
Disney Hostar contracts. All that remains to be solved are these minor niggles, which can be just swatted in one event itself.
Absolutely.
So I think MFN has a bright future. The fighters have a great future there.
Yeah.
It's all positive for the Indian MMA community. And I think having said that on that note, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yeah, if you've been liking what we've been saying, Piyush and me, we are not here to mince words or to please anyone. We just say as it is, because I think that's
We
what
keep it real.
we keep it real. That's what our duty is as an audience. I'm sure some of you will disagree with us, some of you will agree with us. Whatever it is, do not forget to comment and like and subscribe to our channels.
And share it.
And share it, please. We are available on all streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Podcasts. We are also there on YouTube. Please definitely like, subscribe, and notify us. Ring the bell icon, because that will tell you when we are putting in great content.
And we put it every single week. This
Every
is the
single
only
week.
Indian MMA podcast.
So we are trying our best to keep things real in the country. We don't want to be ass lickers and people pleasers.
We'll beep that.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to. We just, like Piyush beautifully said, we want to keep it real. So if you like, please let us know. If you do not like what we're doing, definitely let us know. So this was me and Piyush once again on Rebel Radio, talking about the MFN 10 card, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Until next time, this is me and Piyush signing out. Peace out, friends.